All right. Welcome back, everybody. We've got a very special guest today. This is Francisco Adame, father of this beautiful man here. Let's get started.
Absolutely.
Why don't we begin with your,
Yeah, first question I'd just like to ask is, where were you born?
I was born in Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico. I wasn't there very long. I think my parents moved us when I was like a year old. So I don't remember much.
Did you stay in Mexico or did you move?
Yes. So my family, my father moved us to another border town called Reynosa, Mexico. Reynosa, Tamaulipas is the place. Rough town. All the border towns are really rough towns.
Yeah, is that like by California? Or?
It's just south of McAllen, Texas. It's by the Rio Grande Valley. Yeah, it's just south of McAllen, Texas. And so I pretty much grew up there from the time that I was a year old to like 9 years old. 9 years old. And at 10 years old, we came here to the United States.
So that must have been crazy. I remember on the last podcast, we talked about how many older sisters you had. You had 5 older sisters.
Yes.
5
older sisters.
And then your family's coming here with, did you have the kids younger too at that point?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, it's my wife. My wife.
You can pick it up.
Hey, honey. Honey, I'm doing the podcast with Frankie right now.
Oh, are you locked with the car?
Yeah, it's all fixed, but I had to come here. You're live on the podcast right now. Okay.
Well.
You're talking to my watch too, so.
Oh, no, because you're going to be here at 6:15, right?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, of course. All right.
We'll get them out of here before that.
Love ya.
Okay, bye.
Oh my God.
Forgot about that.
My mom, Erin Murphy, everybody.
I should turn the phone. I should turn this off.
He silenced the phone, but didn't silence the watch.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Telecommunications.
We're going to have to talk about when you met her.
Yeah. Okay, just take it off here. Take it somewhere else.
So your family came across with,
You're okay.
how many kids was it at that point?
Okay, so this is a story in itself. So
Yeah.
So in 1969, my father came up to Chicago because there was very little work in the Rio Grande Valley, Texas. He always worked in the United States in the Rio Grande Valley, and so there was very little work there at the time, and it was really tough times. And
Was he also doing construction?
he was a carpenter. He was a master carpenter. He grew up as a carpenter, since he was a young man, and so he used to build houses in the Rio Grande Valley. He built houses from Laredo, Texas, all the way down to Brownsville, Texas, which is pretty much a span of the Rio Grande Valley from like the middle of South Texas to the far east coast. So times were tough. We lived in Reynosa, but he worked in the McAllen area and the Rio Grande area on the United States side. And he came up with an uncle of mine. He came up to Chicago to work, and he worked for like the whole year in 1969, and it was tough on him, being away from the family. It was tough for all of us. But I remember writing my father letters all the time, and
My grandfather's name is Francisco Adame.
yeah.
The third. And then we have, the second here.
Right. And during the whole time, my sisters had come up with him. My 3 older sisters had come up with him. And so they came up here, and they also worked. He worked construction. He worked with a union for a union outfit, and And during the whole year, they saved up their money
Were the girls working too? Or?
yeah, the girls worked. The girls got a job at a place called Polo Foods, which was Polo Foods was a chicken distributor. They used to distribute. It's kind of like Tyson's is right now. That was probably the precursor, of something like that.
I wonder if that was like, was that in the meat market area? Like
It was in
over by
no, it
Randolph
was
Street, or
actually
was it like-
Polo Foods. I believe was in Des Plaines, Illinois,
Oh, okay.
or Schaumburg, Illinois, so somewhere like that. Yeah, this is back in 1969, 1970 era. So they saved their money, and my father used to send money to my mother all the time. I remember walking to the bank with my mother holding me by the hand, and we'd walk down the street and wanted to be safe because back then, I think my father, I don't know, I don't remember if it was cash, but it was large quantities, or if he sent like a money order. But I remember walking to the bank with her and depositing my father's money, as she called it. She's like,
Yeah.
"This is your father's money. We have to take care of it." And so we walked to the bank and deposited the money and walked back. And during the whole year, I remember her doing that, and I remember walking with her. But at the end of the year, I remember my father and my sisters coming back from here, from Chicago, and to Reynosa, and we had a wonderful Christmas that Christmas. There was abundance. They had saved a lot of money, they had made money, and it was great. And the next spring, so like in March, my father kind of, he had, I don't know what he did. I was just 10 years old at the time. But he set us up so that we could come to the United States. He got us visas and everything like that. So in March of 1970.
It's incredible. That's a lot of work to
yeah,
be able to
we,
get everybody
yeah,
approved.
yeah.
To like,
Yep.
that's a huge undertaking.
It's
Rob
a huge
would know about
undertaking.
that, or it's
Yep.
like, well, getting people. Wow.
Yeah, so we had to put all our belongings in storage at one of my uncle's houses and stuff like that. And we all, my dad had bought a 1968 station wagon, a green Chevrolet station wagon. I remember it very well. It had the 3 seats. It had
I remember
front
those kind of
seat.
like old school station wagons.
Yeah.
right?
And you could sit in the back. The very back seat faced the back.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. It
The
was
2
like-
front seats faced the front, and the back seat faced the back.
I miss those cars. They should bring that car back. That car
it
was
was
cool.
it was fun. So we all piled in there, and there was my parents, and then my 6 sisters. I have 5 sisters older than me and 1 younger than me, and then me and my 3 brothers, and we had brought along a cousin that was very fluent. She had lived in Texas, and she was very fluent in English. So just for security and so there wouldn't be any language barriers for us. I myself did not speak a word of English. Neither did most of my siblings. We had my sister Lupe. She had.
Were your sisters who were up here, were they figuring it out?
Yeah, they were figuring it out. Yeah. But they, it was limited. Their English skills were limited.
You guys
So
should learn watching cartoon shows.
yeah,
So you learned probably.
yeah. So we piled up on that station wagon and drove to Chicago, and
This must have been a
It was-
historic road trip.
Yeah.
All the way up across.
yeah, and I remember the snow. I remember me and my older sister, my immediate older sister Cecilia, we were arguing because she had seen snow before. I'd never seen snow before. And so I would see the snow on the side of the road, and I thought that were rocks. I thought, to me, it looked like rocks. It looks like, because it was dirty. It looked, and so it wasn't like white snow. I kept telling her, "Oh, snow's white." I've seen snow in books, and snow is white. She's like, "I'm telling you." She would tell me, "I'm telling you, that's snow." It wasn't until we stopped that, felt that, and it was like, wow, yeah, it was ice, snow. It's like, but it was, yeah. So
Because you think
that
of
was
it
one
like
thing.
the
I saw also probably the,
The
first time you guys
snowflakes.
realized.
Yeah.
And white
yeah, yeah.
snow, pretty white snow.
Yeah. The other thing, we had a mishap. My younger brother Hector, he almost died on us. It was tough on the trip because he, as we were eating, we would eat and we didn't have a lot of exercise. This is a long trip. This is, instead of probably about 35, 40-hour trip, because all of us, when you have a lot of family,
yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of needs.
you got to eat, you got to use, you have to take bathroom breaks, stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow.
My dad being the only driver, he wouldn't let anybody else drive, so we had to get some rest and stuff like that. But my brother, I think it was just like a matter, he was like really backed up, really constipated, and part of that, I think something like peritonitis that develops if your
Backed up, like
kidneys
your
are not
bile.
functioning,
How old was
your
he?
bowels are not functioning correctly. But
How old was he?
he was, I believe, 4 or 5 years old.
Okay, so he's a little kid.
He's just a kid. And I remember my parents brought him up to the front of the station wagons. My dad was driving, and my brother passed out, and my mother told my dad, I think we lost him, and it was tough. But we pulled up to a rest stop somewhere near Springfield, and called an ambulance. Somebody called an ambulance for us, and took him to the hospital in Springfield, Illinois. And
It's like 5 hours out from here.
yeah, so we were 5 hours from here. Yeah, so we had been we had been on the road for a long time by that time. So
Everybody was tired.
yeah, it was just everything was new to us. It was just new, but got up to the hospital. They took care of him and fixed him up, and he was fine after that.
How long after you got to the hospital did you know that, like, what was going on? And
It was probably hours. It was probably like 3-4 hours or something like that. But they did take care of him right away.
Yeah.
They took him in right away, and fortunately he was fine, And but it was a scary thing for my parents.
Yeah, it was probably scary for all you guys.
Yeah, right. My mom,
we're a big family.
my
Huge
mom's a very, very strong woman. She's very quiet but very strong. Very in the inside, just hardcore. I mean, steel.
We gotta get. Is she
That's
still
where I get
around,
my
or-
name.
Well, she's 95
Bring her
years
in,
old.
Sit her in the chair.
Well, you
love
have to
to.
learn Spanish.
Yeah.
But that's where I get my middle name.
Yeah,
My name is Francisco Tomas.
He's named
and,
after my parents.
Tomasita is my grandmother's name.
Yeah, that's right.
My middle name is John. That's my grandfather's name. The same.
Yeah.
And but one thing I know about Abuelita is that she loves her children, and she loves
Absolutely.
She made them. I mean,
Yeah.
they're to see Heck on the way, like to see anything happen
Sure.
to any of them, whether it was serious or not.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
So how long were you in Springfield for?
So we were in Springfield for a few hours, and then once he was all fixed up, we got back on the road and then made it to Chicago. It was I don't remember the
This
exact
got up here in
date.
the middle of winter. Was it like
Right.
what date? It's like January, February.
No, this was in March.
In
This
March?
was in March.
Right at the
When
end.
we got here, it was March. It was March, and spring. You know how Marches are here. You get some decent days.
Sometimes it'll be good.
Yeah, and
sometimes
then
it'll
you
be
get
good.
some.
When's summer gonna get
Yeah.
for spring?
And then I remember the weather starting to get a little better. It seemed like it was getting better, but for us, it was horrible.
Well, yeah, you must.
I mean,
you're not
we were
acting
used
much.
to, I never wore jackets ever. I mean, the winter, maybe 1 day, 2 days, and that was it. We weren't used to really hot, warm weather. We're in the valley.
Acclimating.
Yeah, I mean,
acclimating. It's especially cold.
Sure.
Like Chicagoans that are used to the weather.
Still hate it.
Right. Yeah. And then it was during that time that I finally saw my first snowfall. You know, it was like I think towards the end of March. You know, we had snow, and then it cleared up. And what was amazing was that the weather started getting really nice, and then it was like in May that we had like a snowstorm in Chicago during that year, and we were just amazed how the weather was. It turned out. You know, it turned really nice, and
You're
then
like,
all
is
of a
it gonna
sudden,
be like this
yeah,
forever?
all of a sudden it starts snowing. It's like, oh my God, it's supposed to be nice now. It's May. We were like, wow, that's amazing.
Are we going in reverse
yeah.
now? What's it?
Right, but
Must have been a really interesting time. Like you guys came here, you know, like obviously you weren't going in school yet, so you had like 6 months worth of time to
Right.
get your bearings straight.
Yes.
Figure out where you were going to live.
Yep.
Your dad had already a home for you guys.
he had set it up. My dad and my sisters had set up a home in Des Plaines, Illinois. We lived on Graceland Avenue. I remember we were just down the street from Northwest Highway,
Yeah.
like the police station right there on Graceland, and
There must be so many connections between our families because that's where my whole mom's side of the family is from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It was
Interesting.
like right off of 2E and like right by the highway by
Yeah.
2E.
Okay. Yeah. So I went. My first school was North School in Des Plaines. It's North School is on River Road and between River Road. It's kind of like it's squeezed in between River Road and Rand Road. There used to be a hospital, Forest Hospital there, kind of like behind the school. I think the hospital's still there. Back then, I think it was like a behavioral center, you know, like something like that. But I remember the school very, very well. It was just a good vibe for me, you know.
Yeah.
was
Did you continue through high school in Des Plaines, or did you guys?
No, so I was here. Let me tell you a story. I was very fortunate because when I started school in 4th grade here in the United States, and I couldn't join the class. I couldn't join the activities in the class because I didn't speak English. So I was very fortunate because my 4th grade teacher was she was from Texas, so she was bilingual. And she helped me out, but because I couldn't participate in the class, so she gave me a dictionary, and she just told me, just like, this is what you do. You start reading these words and start learning these words and the definitions and stuff like that. And so that's how I started to learn English. But she was really, really good to me.
Maps,
Yep.
encyclopedias.
Yep. And
I know because I grew up with them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would have said back then, like, watch Sesame Street or watch the basic. That's before Sesame Street, though.
Yeah, well, it was there. I think it was there,
Yeah.
but it was the beginning of Sesame Street,
They weren't
the Ray
really
Rayner
set up
show.
for
I don't know if
bilingual
you
classes and stuff like that.
I don't know if you remember that, but it was like the Ray Rayner show, the Bozo Circus show.
I was on the Bozo
That
Circus.
was
I
that
did
was all.
Not the buckets, but I did some other game on there.
Yeah. The
But
Ray
it still
Rayner
exists, I
show.
think, somewhere.
The Ray Rayner show was a staple here in Chicago. If you're from Chicago, you're like my age group, you'll remember the Ray Rayner show because they had a lot of school type activities going on, in the morning and stuff like that. But we lived in Des Plaines for 2 years. Then what happened was that the house that we lived in, it was sold, in a real estate action, and so we needed to find another place to live, and it was a blessing in disguise because it forced my father to look for something else, and so he saw. Where everybody saw a problem, he saw an opportunity. And so he looked around and found a real estate agent that helped us out. And he found a house in Arlington Heights for sale. And it was tough, but he bought the house. He was able to buy the house in Arlington Heights for all of us. And for us, it was just amazing.
That's
It was
incredible.
like 2 years, in country, and my father was able to accomplish this for us.
Wow.
And so we all grew up
Buying
in the
a
house.
It is tough when you've got that many kids.
10
like,
kids,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
10 months to feed, yeah.
So I know, like, from my family, my dad had 5 kids, and I can see similarities.
Sure.
Like, we had to get giant houses.
Yeah.
It was no joke.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
stacked on top of each other.
Sure,
And,
sure.
Like,
Oh,
it must
yeah.
have even been worse.
Yeah, that
And then
was...
with the sisters, I
yeah.
mean, Jesus.
There was 12 of us in a 4-bedroom house, and yeah, it's like my brothers and I, squeezed into a little room, and my sisters had a couple rooms, and my parents had the smallest room in the house, But you make do, you really do, and everybody does their part. The ones that could work, like I started working with my dad since I was 8 years old. I had helped them when we were in Reynosa. My chores were always there.
They were always
I remember from the time that I remember, maybe 6, 7 years old, I used to wake up early with my dad and my mom, and I used to because in warm weather there's always a lot of dew and stuff like that. It happens in the middle of the night, and so the windows in the cars get fogged up. So I used to, go outside at 6 o'clock in the morning, clean the windows for my dad's truck. And so he wouldn't have to worry about it. And, he'd have his breakfast and everything like that my mother would fix. And while he was doing that, I would get his truck ready to go.
So there you
we
start.
all worked.
He probably would bring you with him.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
probably an escape.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it was for me too. It's
Sure.
like, I don't want to stay with the girls. Like, come on. Like, he gave me a squeegee for a toy
Right.
when I was like 5 years old. I was cleaning windows in
There
the
you
house
go.
so I could get out of there.
No, for me it was more of a thing that you do your part. Everybody does their part. My sisters would help my mom in the kitchen, stuff like that. But when we moved to Arlington Heights, we all, my sisters used to work as well. My oldest sisters, the ones that were able to work, they worked, and then the rest of us were, pretty much went to school.
It had to
And
be
there
a
was-
well-oiled
yeah.
machine to be able
Yeah.
to do the things that you guys
But
did.
but school was very important. For my father, because he had not had a lot of schooling, and so he wanted us to have the schooling the United States offered where we were at. Arlington Heights is a great little suburb to grow up in, but he saw the opportunity for us to be able to go to school, get a decent education, and hopefully make something of ourselves better than he had done. And fortunately,
It sounds like you
the
did
formula
pretty good.
worked. Yeah, it was a great formula.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say that in my family, in our family, my sons have done well. My daughter, Frankie, my son Robert, but also my sisters' kids, they all do well. And now proud to say that one of my mother's grandchildren, or great grandchildren, one of them is at Princeton. Yale, which is a huge accomplishment for third generation immigrants, Mexican American
Did
immigrants.
you also go through college yourself, or?
Yes. So I went to high school in Arlington Heights High School, and then after high school, I joined the military service. I joined the Army, and I spent 2 years in Europe. In the Army, 18 months.
What years were that? Was that?
From 1979 to 1981, I spent in Germany. And then when I came back, before I went in the Army, I had set some goals for myself. One of them was to travel. The other one was to save money for college. It was tough for my parents to afford college. There was no way that I could do
Right.
that. And so travel, save money for college, and learn a new language. And I had those goals in mind. And fortunately, I was able to accomplish all of them.
Did you learn how to speak German while you were
A little bit of German. German was,
find that
kind of,
kinda confusing.
a little bit of German,
Yeah.
but mostly Italian. I picked up Italian.
Yeah.
It seems like Italian is easy for
Yeah, it was
Spanish
much
people.
easier for me because it's a Romance
Yeah.
language. In high school, I took French, so I took 4 years of French, so I was fairly fluent in that. And then, so when I was in Germany, stationed in Germany, there's a lot of Italian immigrants, kind of like over here, there's a lot of Mexican immigrants. Well, there's, the Italians go to Germany to find work. And so I got along with a lot
Which
of
part
them.
of Germany were you stationed in?
I was stationed in a small town called Babenhausen. It's between, if you know the geography, it's near Frankfurt, Germany. It was kind of squeezed between Frankfurt and Darmstadt, Germany. And beautiful place, beautiful place. I had some really, really wonderful memories from there. I really did. Then I came back. When I came back, that's when I went to college.
Did you get the discharge from the Army where they were like, we'll send you to college?
Yeah, so back then they didn't have the GI Bill anymore. The GI Bill was mostly for the Vietnam era
Yeah,
veterans at the time. But they did have a structure where for every dollar that I saved myself, they would match it with $2 other. So every month while I was in Germany, I would put away $100. And so the Army would match it with $200 more. So essentially saving $300 a month for my college education. And when I came back, I joined the National Guard, the Illinois National Guard, and also started getting ready to go to school. I had to back up a little bit. While I was in the service, I started taking college courses through the University of Maryland, the European division. Now they call it World Campus. But back then it was just the European division, University of Maryland. And so I had some credits coming into to college. And then I took a few more courses in Harper College. And then I applied to Northern Illinois University. And that's where I went to school. That's where I did my undergraduate.
Out in DeKalb?
Out in DeKalb, absolutely, yep.
Yeah, I've had some
Corn
experiences
City.
out there. Yeah. It's old.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I could tell you stories about that town.
I know have a lot of stories from there too. But it was a good time. School was fun for me, and I was an older student while I was there, so that kind of helped out a little bit. I had a lot of world experience by the time I went to college. I was.
What were you? What was your area of study?
So I studied political science with an emphasis on international relations. I wanted to be a diplomat. I wanted to work for the Foreign Service. That was my goal. Unfortunately, I didn't reach it, but I got really close. But things happen in life that deviate. You take different roads.
He's better off.
Yeah.
What kind of? Is there a story there? For how that didn't work out?
Well, yeah. Here. So while I was there, working towards that goal, I got to meet a gentleman. His name was George Keenan, and you probably read about him in the history books. But George Keenan was the top formulator of the detent policy between, at the time, the Soviet Union and the United States.
Oh, wow.
And I met with him because he came to speak at Northern Illinois University. And he asked, while he was talking, he said, if any of you guys are interested in the Foreign Service, come on to, he gave us the name of the office and stuff like that. And so I said, absolutely. So I went over there and I got an interview with him. And he saw my credentials. He saw that I had been in the military, that I spoke several languages, and that my grades were good enough for whatever I wanted to do. And he gave me his card, and he told me, when you're done here, come and visit me in Washington, and we'll put you to work.
Wow.
And that was a great opportunity. Unfortunately, while I was at school, I had been living with a girl. She was my high school sweetheart, and the relationship broke up, or we broke up, and that was tough, and it was a tough time for me.
I have a feeling that's what you're gonna say.
Yeah, it's true. It's such a cliche, but it's true. It is. It's very true. I took my eyes off the ball, unfortunately, but it's always things that happen.
It led to you becoming
Yeah.
a carpenter and contractor.
So
and a damn good one.
yeah, I had always had the carpentry background in my life. Growing up with my dad. Even before I went in the service, I used to work the summers, my high school summers, with my father, or the company that he used to work for, Gustafson and Lindbergh. They were a carpenter contracting company, and we'd build homes.
Were you already, like, when you were in college, were you doing like side jobs while you were out there making money, or were you working?
I would come home on the weekends and help my father.
Yeah,
NIU is a weekend.
like an hour away,
Yeah, it's like an hour away. So you come home for the weekends, and that's what I used to do to make some extra money. And I always worked with my dad. There was always something to do.
Mm-hmm.
There was always work. Back then, it was right around that time that I was in college that there was another thing that happened. There was a really bad recession at the time. It was 1983. I'd come back from the Army, and when I came back, I started working with my dad's company again, with the company he used to work for, Gustafson and Lindbergh. And we were working at a high-rise that summer over on Chestnut and State. It's a Chestnut building now.
Oh, I remember you did the windows over
Yeah,
there.
I did every single window in that building. I carried those things up.
and State.
I put them, Chestnut and State is right by
Next
Tempo Restaurant.
Yeah. Tempo, yeah.
Next door to
Yeah.
Paisano's Pizza right there. Yep. So what happened is that the recession was really bad. I think it was like close to 25% unemployment back then. This is the Reagan years. This is things were really tough. The beginning of the Reagan years, the economy was really bad. And so my dad got laid off, and he had been with the company for quite a while at that point, like 13 years or so. He'd been with this company, and he got laid off.
That's got to be a heavy hit.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it was,
with all the children,
yeah.
mouths to feed again,
Yeah.
house
Yeah,
to pay for.
and it was a union job, so he had unemployment insurance and stuff like that. But still, you have a lot of kids to feed.
Tight.
And it was during that time that it was actually my girlfriend's sister's boyfriend that he had come into a situation where his father was the president of a bank, St. Paul Federal Savings at the time. And St. Paul Federal Savings had taken over, repossessed a property that another developer or contractor had been working on in Hoffman Estates. And they left some unfinished homes. They went bankrupt. They left some unfinished homes, and they had all this other land to develop. And so this guy took it over. He right out of college too, and so he found out that we had gotten laid off, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come and swing some hammers with me?" And so
Out in Hoffman Estates?
yeah, out of Hoffman Estates. Yep,
What were you guys building up there?
building homes,
Like,
single family homes.
My family, we lived out there when I was probably, I don't know, about the age of like 11 to 14. Moon Lake Boulevard.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole-
absolutely.
golf course over
Yeah,
there?
we built a lot of homes
Yeah, I
in
was gonna
Moon
say,
Lake,
it was probably-
Moon Lake
it's
Village.
probably in Moon Lake Village. I live in Moon
My
Lake
dad's
Village.
company built Moon Lake Village.
Yeah, you might have built my house.
Yeah, probably. I guarantee
wouldn't be
you.
surprised.
We Moon Lake Village. Absolutely,
That would be
absolutely.
crazy.
Yes, we did Moon Lake Village. My
After
dad
the
and
summer, we
I.
got to look up the address. And
Yeah, my
actually
dad
see.
and I. My
You're
dad
kidding
and I.
me. There's no way.
Moon Lake Village, we used to, my dad and I were the roof guys. We used to set the trusses. We used to set all the trusses in Moon Lake Village. We set them on my dad. We used to do two and a half homes a day. We used to set
Oh man. Okay. I
soffit
wish I could remember the
fascia.
address right now. We had a crazy house out there. It had like a 1/4 acre backyard. It was on a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
It was a very unique spot.
Yeah,
It was at the end of.
to tell you the truth,
So many.
we didn't see the addresses until the homes were gone. By that time, we were
Yeah.
long gone.
Yeah.
Because we were
There was a lot
building
of
them.
stick framing and rough construction.
Yeah.
We would do the stick framing. We would do the roofs. We'd install all the
numbers and the
trusses.
badges. They wouldn't even know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
No, the house wasn't finished.
Right.
We'd install all the trusses and the roofs and everything like that. Sheet them and like. For a long time, I did that.
To them,
there's like
to them there
19,
wasn't a Google Maps. There was
That's like
was
1983,
the next
1984 you're
house.
talking about.
Yeah, this is. I think Moon Lake Village was. I think it was even before that. I think it's just before that. Trying to think when we were at Moon Lake Village. It was probably late 81, 82.
Was the golf course out there already, or was that after?
No.
Yeah.
It was just farmland
I'm
out
just
there.
gonna- yeah,
It was
I'm
all
gonna guess.
farmland. Yeah, that was. All we used to see fields and when it rained, it was mud was knee deep. It was tough getting out of there in the mud.
Yeah.
I remember one of our guys. He was working on a pettibone machine, and somehow he sunk into a mud hole, and he sunk. He went like
man.
he was waist deep, and we had to pull him out. Literally, it was really tough pulling him out. His boots were left. He had to leave his boots in the mud. Had to pull him out. It was like it was crazy. But yeah.
Being on the job sites, I know, like when
Yeah.
it rains for a couple
Yeah.
days,
Oh, yeah.
you know, we put boards down. We put the 3/4 inch boards down so that
Plywood.
for us to walk down.
Yeah.
And that's so that we don't sink. And it gets muddy, and you have these big boots on, and you pull the mud with you, and so things get heavy. It's just
Yeah.
heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, you know.
A lot of suction in
It's
mud.
kind of
too.
swampy out there. I remember.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
It was,
Oh, yeah.
When I was a little kid.
Yeah. It was Moon Lake Village, absolutely. So to tell you, that story. So my dad got laid off, and me going out there and helping this guy out. He saw, that I knew the work very well, and I fit in with the guys right away with his lead carpenters, and I was like, I knew exactly what
You had
what
a
to do.
military mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had military. You had the bilingual. You had.
And so I just went after it, and he saw that. He's like, yeah, just stay with me, and I stayed with him that summer, and then towards the end of the summer, he asked me, he's like, hey, I need another crew to build some other homes. Do you know anybody? And I said, absolutely. So I talked to my dad that same night, and I told him, let's we can open up a company. And,
Rick and Heck.
And my dad,
Johnny.
not having a lot of schooling, never had a business or anything like that, a background. He was kind of scared, he's afraid. But I told him, like, what have you got to lose? You don't have a job. You're on unemployment. Why not? And so he said.
And there was Reyes Construction.
Yeah, it was actually the first company we started was HJR Construction.
HJR.
Hector, John, and Rick Construction. HJR Construction.
I love it.
And
Why not you?
because I was the boss. Like I just give them the name.
Corporate veil. You want to go to corporate veil? Go after them.
So yeah, but so that was the first company that helped my father open up, and he did very, very well. Did very, very well that first year.
That was with the windows on Chestnut.
Oh, that was no, that was no, that was the company that we used to work for.
Oh, okay,
That we
okay,
where we
gotcha.
got laid off from, and it was that again. You know,
So it sounds like you guys
once the
started-
door closes, there's another one that opens up.
Yeah, grandfather always
It's-
saw opportunity.
Always seen opportunities, you know, and I learned that. I saw an
You
opportunity
saw
here.
that, and you saw that because that's something that he gave to you.
Right, absolutely. You know, again, one door closes, another one opens. You know, you have to look for that opportunity. I saw that, and you know, we ran with it. And that first year, we built 22 homes, 22 homes, and that was just before I went to school. I helped them do that. It was in between Army and NIU, Northern Illinois, and that we opened up that company, and he did pretty well, pretty well. He did, yeah. That first year, I think we did probably close to $300,000, which was huge. In 1983, it's like right after, it was like in the midst of a recession.
Were you guys
You know?
only building out in the suburbs, or were you?
Yeah, we were
downtown?
just mainly building in the suburbs. Yeah,
building
we
homes
were
and stuff.
close to home. We lived in Arlington Heights, and so you know, it's like Hoffman Estates was what, 25 minutes from home, which is great, you know, and that's when I was able to kind of go to school and have a little bit of relief and stuff like that, you know, from the family, and it was good.
Were you married at the time, or how did you?
No. I got married late. I played around a lot after that breakup with that girl at NIU.
He got a motorcycle,
I kind of
cool cars.
Yeah, I was just kind of got a little wild there, you know. Sowed my oats for a long time. I used to, you know, go out to a lot of clubs and, you know, trying to find another girl that, you know, to kind of take that girl's place, and nothing ever materialized for a while there. But it wasn't until I met my wife. I was around probably about 26, 27 years old that when I met my wife. And it just, things just happened. And I fell in love and
It
kept
doesn't seem
asking.
like it's
yeah,
too old.
yeah.
I mean, 26,
Yeah.
27.
Yeah, no,
That's normal.
yeah.
Where
Well,
did you meet her at?
I met her.
Hopefully
It's
that's
kind
not
of
a
a.
question.
No, well, yeah,
Let's talk about it. No,
yeah. Well,
Carlene and I were talking about this
yeah,
last night.
it's
She's
kind
like,
of
that's
a.
a funny
it's-
story.
It's a funny story. It's a funny story. I actually met my wife because I used to date her sister, her older sister, which was, you know, kind of a, you know, weird thing, but it just happened. Things happen, you know. And I had met her, and while I was dating her sister, that's how I met her. But it wasn't until a couple years later that her sister and I had broken up, and I met her at a party, and we just, I don't know, just started talking, and she came up to me and she asked me, she's like, "Do you remember me?" I said, "Yeah, of course I remember you." And so we just started talking, and you know, from that
Next
day
you know,
on,
this guy pops out.
yeah, right. From that day on, we.
It was my brother
Yeah.
first.
I think from that day on, or like a week later, we just never stopped talking the rest of our lives. You know, we've been together ever since, which is great. We moved in together, and then it was like a 3 years later. You know, we were living downtown, and she got pregnant. You know, with my son Robert, and
You guys were living downtown. That was Armitage.
yeah, and I'm the kind of guy that, you know, I'm all about commitment. You know, so I was very committed. She, you know, she was, you know, probably thinking about it like, am I going to marry this guy? I don't know. No, but I think she was okay with that, and so So I set up my wedding, you
It
know.
must have been a crazy wedding.
Yeah, it was, actually
must have
was.
been
It was,
crazy wedding.
everybody that was there can still tell you all about it.
I can guarantee it was crazy.
So,
The Irish and the Mexicans.
I set up pretty much everything. I told her I gotta go ask your dad for your hand and everything like that. And she's like, "Are you sure?" Yeah, of course. So I went out to Naperville and asked my father-in-law, Dick Murphy. I told him, you know, I'm in love with your wife and or your daughter rather. I'm in love with your daughter and I want to make her my wife.
You better not have told me that. That's fine.
Right. Yeah. That's
I'll take your
that.
daughter.
Right. But
These are Naperville? They were from Naperville? And
Yeah.
you guys were from Arlington Heights? Is that
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. Although Aaron and I lived in the city at the time. I had lived in Heights the rest of my life. But so I went out, asked for my wife's hand, and everything was good. And you know, he told me, you know, to set up some money. I don't need anything. I'm not asking you for anything. I'm not asking for any money or anything like that. You want to help us out? Give it to your daughter, whatever. I'm okay. And so I think he respected that. But I made arrangements for a venue for a wedding. It's a guy that I had been doing some work for, you know, helping him with his restaurants and stuff like that. And we set it all up, and we had a list of guests and everything like that, and all my friends remember that. My closer friends, on her side, my side, and it was a small venue, but I think we had probably about 60, 70 people there. My family is a huge
Sounds like
family.
your family is 60 people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I set it all up and I surprised everybody because what I did is I had a mariachi group come and play. You know, when everybody was there, everybody had, and they had started, the way I set it up is I told them to start playing before they walked in. So they were coming in, they came through the kitchen of the venue. They came in through the kitchen and people started to listen to the music, and all of a sudden the doors open and these guys are playing full blown, you know, hardcore mariachi Mexican music. And everybody in the restaurant or in the place, I had everybody in cheers.
A mariachi group, like a real mariachi group, they come in and those brass instruments, even the guitars are as loud as the brass. And the voice is coming.
Have you ever seen the one that's over by that Casa Tequila place? Every Tuesday.
Yeah.
They bring out like 15 people.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
sure.
It's like a
that's
full
great.
orchestra.
Yeah,
is that?
that's what it
It's
is.
right across the street from Black Hole.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
check that out. Yeah,
On Tuesday, it's like you're sitting out there, and all of a
So,
sudden it's a full.
needless to
splash.
say, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. You know, my friends and my family, especially my family, Aaron's family, is like everybody. It's like because this is big.
God,
this is huge. It's like really heartfelt,
'Cause
emotional,
it was a
very
big
emotional,
show to
very emotional,
to the
very,
Murphys,
very emotional.
and it was also traditional.
Yeah, very traditional to
for
me
us.
because nobody expected. In my family, nobody saw that coming, but they realized as soon as they heard the music, it's like he did it. You know, it's like,
That's
and it's
fucking
huge
awesome, yeah.
because we can never have a big party without the mariachis. That's how it is in my family, and my dad loved mariachi music. You know,
I hope you
so-
dance with all the sisters, man.
Yeah. So yeah. I did. Actually,
My
that was it.
grandmother, when she turned 90, I'll never forget, man.
Yeah.
She partied until
Yeah.
2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And these mariachis, like,
Yeah.
were there the whole time,
Yeah.
man. And just as, like, blaring.
Yeah.
My grandmother, 90 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
like, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we all big celebrations, weddings, quinceañeras. The mariachis is a staple there, you know. My dad, he was a hard worker, but he loved his music. Always had the mariachis, had music, you know. That was part of the growing up in our household. That was a thing that we always had music. You know, it was always a happy household.
Were you guys,
It kind of made the house happy itself. You know,
Was any of the
music.
family like musicians themselves?
No, not really. Not in our immediate family, but my uncles, cousins that played guitar and stuff like that. My dad would sing with my uncle all the time. They drank
Yeah.
or, you know, yeah.
I remember us watching videos. There
Yeah.
were some videos that there was always a guitar in the room, big family, and then
Yeah.
the house in the place in Arlington Heights.
Yep.
It had a guitar.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
and cowboy hats.
Yep. Yep, yeah. There was always maracas and guitars and stuff
Yeah?
like that. Yeah, so we had cousins and uncles that played, and my dad would sing with them, would sing along and stuff like that. We always had friends that would come, and we had our Cuban friends that would come by the house, you know, at least once a week or during the weekends, stuff like that. And they have parties, and it was always singing in the house, you know. It was always singing, a lot of music. It was all happy times. It was all very happy
So-
times. It was good. Yeah.
So your wife was pregnant.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
you
wife
got-
was
oh, you-
pregnant. Yeah.
How pregnant was she?
I think she was like 4 months, maybe
So-
5 months by the
wasn't
time
too-
when we got
too far
married.
off.
Yeah. So it was for what I did, and this was so we got married in January. And I didn't. We were living in the city, and I didn't want my child to be born in the city for some reason. I just had a thing, you know, about I want my kid to be in the suburbs and stuff like that. So I moved us out to the suburbs, and within 6 months, we got married. I bought a house, and my son was born. Everything within 6 months, you know. So that was a good feat, you know, that I had put under my belt. You know, when you decide on something, you're committed. You know, you work really hard to make it happen, and I did, and it was good. You know.
Where were you guys living?
So I bought a condominium in Arlington Heights, a Dana Point condominium, and the first 10 years of our married life, we were there. That's where Frankie grew up, going to school in Arlington Heights. Robert and Carlina was the one that when she came along, we figured that the condo was getting a little too big, too small for our family. Our family was growing. You know, there was 5 of us now, so it was a 2-bedroom condo. So I decided that we needed a bigger place. So I had a house built out in Streamwood. You know, I went out there and
Did
bought
your
a.
family keep that original house that you moved into when you had a?
Yeah,
Do you guys
yeah.
still have
Actually,
that?
it's still there, and
Yeah?
one of my sisters lives there at
Really?
925 North Beverly. Yeah,
Tia Lupe?
Yeah, Tia Lupe still lives there. Yeah, when my parents moved out, they retired. They went to Texas. My dad built a house for my mother in Texas, and they sold the house, but they wanted to keep it. They wanted to keep the house within the family. So one of my sisters bought it, and she's still there. The house is still there. Yeah, still. Yeah.
Family, you know, heirloom. It's like a museum.
Oh yeah.
Of history.
Yeah. My parents' house in Texas is like that because everybody kind of. It's a gathering place for all the other families, you know, all the kids in the family. So we go there, visit my mother, and we all send photos of the kids, of the grandkids, and things like that to my mother's house. And it's just like a big gathering place. The walls are filled with memories.
Museum, yeah.
Filled with, you know, all the kids, pictures of me, my wife, my kids, and same with all my siblings. Their graduations, their weddings, you know, everything like that. Yes, it is, and they keep them well. Yeah, good record keeping on the walls of that house. Yes, yeah.
So, tell me more about like business in Chicago.
Okay.
I want to talk about
Yeah.
some of the places you've built and some of the like commercial, like downtown stuff.
Sure.
This is
Sure.
how we got into the conversation originally. One of the reasons why the podcast was started in the first place was a reason like this. And Chris and I always have our conversations, and our conversations always tie to our dads, and then we're like, they probably know each other, you
Yeah,
know, because of
possibly.
the work that we've done.
Very possible. Very possible.
I'd be willing to bet I
Yeah.
could find some connection
Sure.
between here. You know?
I'm pretty sure he built your
Built my
house.
house.
Yeah, it's a small world. Think about it. It's a small world.
I think you guys know each
We've been
other.
around. We've been around. You grow up in the Chicagoland area, and if you're a contractor, you're not limited to just one location. You know, you have to get around because you go where the work is.
Yeah, it's
essentially.
I always feel like it's a small town in
Yeah.
the city.
Oh yeah.
I can't walk down the street without somebody
Yeah.
Yeah.
yelling out their
Absolutely.
cars.
I always run into somebody there.
Yeah.
Always. I tell you a story. I ran into people I know everywhere in the world. I actually ran into somebody from Arlington Heights when I was in Germany. literally ran into a high school classmate in Germany.
Wow.
It was just a weird thing, but
So
I
you
always
had
have to fight
the had the business with Grandpa, and then you know, you guys get older, and your brothers. Were you guys still together? Were you guys working together? Or by the time, because like Streamwood, when you got that house, you had your own company.
Yeah. I pretty much had my own company since I left school. I left school in like 1985, and moved back to Arlington Heights, and I was living with some friends, and I started my own company then. I had an offer to build a house. This is a little later on. I had the company for a few years, and I got an offer to build a house, and it was actually in Elgin, Streamwood, Elgin area, and I started building the house, and while I was building it, the owner saw that he had a lot of space, that it was kind of wasted and above the garage and stuff like that. This is started out as a 6,500 square foot house, and he asked me if we could add to it. And I said, yeah, absolutely. You know, call the architect, have him draw, add to the blueprint. And so he did, but he couldn't find the architect. The guy, I don't know, he was either traveling, something happened, but he couldn't find him. So I told him, well, I could probably do the drawing for you. You know, it'd be a hard time passing it through the county because there was Cook County land. So he said, well, let's go for it. I did the drawings, and lo and behold, I took him to the Cook County architectural department. They passed the plans, they put a seal on it, I built the house. And it was good. Guy's still standing, so it's a good thing. You know? Cool. But yeah, so that was one of the first big homes that I did on my own, and so the house ended up being 8,500 square feet. That's a pretty good size house.
Addition. That's a big addition too.
Yeah, and so my business kind of took off from there. You know, I started building there, and then moved my business to the city and started working in Chicago.
Do you remember the origin or the beginning aspects of that?
Well, that house was a kind of a springboard to that. Started doing renovations in the city, and then between my brothers and I, they were growing up as well. We started doing some restaurant work. I think it was like, yes, we went through some rough spells in between that. For a little bit, the business, suffered for a little bit, and I went to work for another company, GW Thiel. I worked with them for a couple years, and they were building some apartments or condos over there on LaSalle and Clark. I think they're called the Oaks, or the Oaks on LaSalle, or the Oaks
That
on
was the
Clark.
lawyer's offices over there, right?
There was those
LaSalle and Clark
were
go the same
condos.
way.
Yeah,
LaSalle-
no, LaSalle and Oak Street. I think they're Oak Street. Yeah, I think they're called the Oaks and LaSalle or something like that. And between Clark and LaSalle on Oak Street, right there. I was working with them for a while, and then it was while I was working with them that I got an opportunity. Me and a couple guys, we were out drinking, and we were walking by a place over on Rush Street. At the time, they had just started building Jilly's. They were just doing the demo there, and so we just stopped to see what they were doing, and this guy comes out. His name is Stanley. We met, and he's like, we look like we had just
You knew what
done.
you were doing.
Yeah, well, we looked like
carpenters.
we had just got done with work. We were out, had some beers and stuff. And so, but we were walking by, and we were just checking out see what you guys are doing. Like, and then we started talking.
He's like, get the fuck back to work. What are you doing? He's standing in the middle of the street.
So Stanley asked, "What do you guys do?" He's like, "Well, we're carpenters." He's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "I need some carpenters over here." He's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, you wanna give us a price for doing this?" Like, and the other guys, they never, they weren't contractors. So I said, "Yeah, I'll jump on it." So I jumped on it, and I told them, "I'll tell you what," because they didn't have like a very set, secure plan, and they didn't have all the money, to do the build up. I told them, "We'll do the work. And we'll work by the hour. How's that?" And then once you see, once you get established and you get the restaurant going really well, then we'll see where we go from there. And we did. We got the structure done, and then he needed help with all the mechanicals and everything like that. And I had all the contacts for everybody. I knew, hadn't been in business for a while myself. I never stopped my business. My business was always going, but when you go through rough patches, sometimes the money's not there, whatever. I was forced to work for somebody else, which I did. But then, like I said, saw the opportunity, got into it right away, and that's how my business got back going again. Then I brought my brothers in to help me out, and I knew that they knew exactly what they were doing, so we did, and we built Jilly's, and then it was at that time that I met Sam DiStefano from the back room. The back room had burnt down, and it was just behind Jilly's, right there on Rush Street, and he needed a contractor to build his place, so he saw that we were working on Jilly's, and he's like, these guys look like they know what they're doing. So he hired us, and sure, we built his place as well. And it was there that we started doing a lot more building in the city, because we had the exposure from doing the back room, which was a great nightclub, and Jilly's was a huge success during those years.
Jilly's distant memory of mine.
Yeah,
It hasn't been there for a while.
yeah.
That was on Rush.
It was on Rush, 1007 North Rush.
Yeah.
And so after we built Jilly's, the guy that we had met, Stanley Wozniak, he wanted to partner up with us because he knew everybody. He had all the contacts in the city. And so we opened up a company, Second City Development, with him and another one of the guys that had been with me. And we started doing more building in the city. We did a couple buildings just down the street on Rush Street. one of them, I think it was like the beginning of Starbucks back then. It was like they turned it into a Starbucks right there on Rush Street, just south of Oak Street on Rush. And so we had a lot of exposure, and ever since then we built the back room, and then Sam and Rudy had just opened up. It wasn't called Paisanos then.
Rudy's. It was Rudy's, or
No, it was what is the name of that place?
it was on Madison. That was
No, it was the one on State Street. The one on State Street. Trying to think of it. Had a different name, but it wasn't Paisanos yet. I think what it was, but it was Sam and Rudy's place. And when Sam DiStefano, or when Rudy wanted to introduce the pizza to the place, Sam said no. You know,
Yeah, because they were doing bars.
Yeah,
They wanted to
it was
make the
more of
money off the
a
booze.
yeah. Sam was more into the booze and the nightclub type environment, and Rudy was more into the pizza food because
We're talking big Rudy.
Rudy Malnati was the son of
We got the
the
Jets
original
going over
Rudy
us right
Malnati
now.
from I think it was Uno's Pizza that opened up they introduced the first deep dish pizza in Chicago, and so Rudy Malnati was half brothers with Lou Malnati, who Lou Malnati's Pizza, same father, different mother, and so.
Half-brothers.
That's there again. We had the connection where my brothers and I, built all the Paisanos restaurants after that. For Rudy Malnati, and then kind of that was our.
You were working hand in hand with Sam there too.
We
Right.
we worked with Sam for a while.
and Stan.
And Stanley, So we did a lot of projects. Back then we did the Everly Club was another bar that we did over on Halsted Street. It was kind of a takeoff of the Everly Club was a big bordello type back in the 20s, but this got kind of gave it that name. But it was a bar.
Familiar.
Yeah, the Everly Club was a very, very famous club in Chicago. It was a bordello.
What's a bordello?
A whorehouse. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
But they had a lot of those places in River North, right? Over there. Like,
Chicago.
they-
Chicago was known for that.
No, they had all the sex shops and
This is Chicago was known for the
Things were a lot rushier back in the day. It was
Oh
a lot
yeah.
more-
Or Rush Street, even just before we started building there, Rush Street was very famous for
I think it kind of changed. I think it changed.
streetwalkers and stuff like that.
I think it changed when the Bulls started winning the championships.
Yeah,
I think it was like about that
Sure,
period where
yeah.
it's like the whole spotlight is on Chicago. Like,
Right. But we were part of the change.
we got people over.
Jilly's was a big part of that change because Jilly's kind of
It was a classier.
it was a
vibe.
classier vibe, a classier environment. There was a lot of building at that time in that strip.
I remember
That's
you
how-
telling me specifically
Yeah,
about that. It was a big moment to bring Jilly's because they wanted to dive and. Jilly's was something classier. It was elevated.
Yeah, it was elevating the nightclub scene in that area. Put it that way. Now, Chicago's always been a nightclub scene everywhere in the city, but there was always different spots that they rise and then they wane, and then the clubs
never
get
rest.
older, they get rougher, but then they're built somewhere else. But at that time. Rush Street had gone through a rough patch where it was known for a lot of streetwalkers and stuff like that. And then when we came in, we kind of took over some of those bad places and made them to nicer places. Carmine's had just opened up. where Carmine's used to be, or where Carmine's is now. It used to be a place called Guadalajara's, which was, a Mexican type restaurant, stuff like that. But it didn't last very long. And Carmine's had just opened one. We were doing Jilly's. Carmine's had opened, so we used to go to dinner to Carmine's all the time. And we always had a big crew. We had all the Italians, the tile guys and, masons, stuff like that, and us, and, we kind of mixed in with them quite a bit. And so we'd go to Carmine's, have the big plates of pasta, just set in front of us, like all of us would dig
20
in.
guys.
Like that.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
a
a lot of
lot
good
of guys,
eating.
a lot of food.
Yeah. So it was good. But yeah, so we were building a lot in that area. We
Is
did.
that where you met Palumbo? Well, over at Carmine's?
Yeah, Pete Palumbo was a big contractor, and they at the time they were doing work on the Kennedy Expressway. They had a huge contract with the state to do, a huge portion of the Kennedy Expressway, and Pete Palumbo was one of the investors in Jilly's. And so that's where, our money was coming from. Indirectly, it went from Pete Palumbo through Stanley and his partners, and we got paid by them. But it was good. I mean, they're good people, just nice people that we met, and they had a huge company. So it was just for us. It was a good find that that we had steady money. The pay was always there. We're always getting paid.
Big time.
And when you're a contractor,
they were always
good
good to us, and we always worked hard. We were ready to work hard for those guys because
you a lot of times part of the contracting business is getting paid. But things are good. Things worked out. And we were getting paid, so that was good.
Have you ever had a real bad one where you didn't get paid?
Yeah, but very few and far between. During that time, there was a guy that didn't pay us, but ultimately he was a contractor that we did some work for, and he ended up owing us money, and it was funny because it's a small world, like I said. He was on another job, and he was getting ready to sign another contract within the job and somehow the owner of that job called us. He had called us, and when we went over there and gave the guy a price, we found out that this guy was our competition, and we ended up, getting the job. So the guy was out, and he ended up losing his business because he couldn't, he couldn't afford to, he couldn't pay people, And any time that you're not able to pay people in this business, people don't want to work for you, and so I always make sure that our guys get paid, even if I don't get paid, that my workers get paid, because it's important that you keep that reputation of always paying your guys.
That's what keeps the city moving. That's what keeps the workers going. That's what keeps the restaurants getting built. And
You have to be responsible and committed, to the people that work for you, and that's very important. That's very, very important. Yeah.
All right, let's take a break real quick. I gotta go outside and clean the windows. I'll be back.
yeah, we did it the wrong way. So watch. Then he gets his dad. I'm counting.
Pay for the podcast, guys.
Dime, ahorita lo voy a poner, ¿ok? Dame. Ok. Sí, estoy bien ocupado. Estoy haciendo un podcast ahorita. Ahorita lo voy a poner, ¿ok? Ok, bye.
You're not gonna see that on Joe Rogan. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do all the tops.
Okay.
He wanted you to know he doesn't clean windows.
You got me now.
You're just teaching him. He's not doing none of this.
Okay. Okay.
He's just observing. Let's see how fast you are, Chris.
You want to see how fast I can do them?
No. Let's see how well you can do it.
It's actually very bright right now.
It is. There you go. Oh, that's why you needed my sunglasses. I see. All right, let's get them soaked. Yeah. Do that. You didn't do the top before. You know?
Yeah, I wanted to do the tops last time. We were in a little bit of a rush.
This is one of the things that has brought him so close to the restaurants that we have built.
Okay.
You know? They'll do the windows.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that he's probably met some of the guys that, you know.
Yeah.
Did you ever do any work for Excalibur or like the a la carte guys?
No. No. I think wasn't that one of Freddie Hoffman's places?
Yeah, Fred Hoffman.
I know Fred. I met Fred, you know, way back. He was really good friends with Joey Palumbo.
Yeah, I did the windows at his house in Barrington.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
It was crazy. He had like alpacas out there.
Yeah. Of course.
It was he had Prince's pool table in his living room.
Yeah.
I got to tell the story.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
Joey Palumbo. I met him even before I met his
Ozzy
dad.
wanted to learn how to wash windows too.
Joey,
never-
back in the day, Joey used to hang out at a place called Thumpers out in Schaumburg. And that was a running place right there. That was a 4 o'clock nightclub.
All right, we're back. I'll ask you an advice question from my perspective.
Sure.
If you could go, like, you've been in business since I was a baby, you know, if there's any advice you would give yourself when you were first starting out as a businessman, so that you could make things better than they already are?
Sure.
You know, like, what would that advice be to yourself?
Always take the time to be on time. Be on time is being on time, being punctual for anything is the most important thing, because it shows that you value your customers' time, your prospective clients' time. It shows respect, and respect in business is ultimately the most important thing.
You were late today, weren't you?
I wasn't going to say it.
No.
Essentially,
yes. Yes, but it was there. Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to be late, you have to have mitigating circumstances. If you're going to be late, you have to have a mitigating circumstance. And me being a person of commitment, my commitment is always my wife first, my family first. And of course, I had to take care of my wife. She needed to go to work. The car has a flat. I had to make sure that she gets there. I had to make sure that she has a car to use tomorrow. And so I had to take care of those things first. Everything else is secondary to that. But always make the time to be on time. I let you know within, plenty of time that I was going to be late. So if you had to make some alternate plans. But it shows respect to anybody. It doesn't have to be a client, but that's very, very important. Very, very important.
I get that with my business all the time. Like, I'm there at the same time every week, almost to the point where if I don't show up, they think there's like.
Sure, something's
wrong
going
with
on.
He's like clockwork. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And that's a good thing. That's a
Yeah.
good thing. That's a very good thing. I'll tell you a story about that, if I may.
Yeah.
The way that I learned to do that was I was young and back in my younger days, is like after I broke up with this girl in college and stuff like that. I went through some rough patches there, and go out and party really hard, and I had to work next day. And one of the lessons I learned from my dad, and this was probably the lesson that I learned from my dad. I remember coming in maybe about 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, kind of tippy-toeing, getting into my room and stuff like that. And we had to work. My dad and I used to leave to go to work around 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning.
He was drunk.
Yeah, and I've been drinking all night long, so I thought, I was just starting to get undressed to get in bed, and my dad knocks on the door. I was like, "Hey, you ready for work?" He knew that I had just walked in, and so he goes, "You getting ready for work?" And of course, yeah, I am. I'm just getting my clothes, so I can go to work. And so
He was getting ready for bed, and he's like,
I had to man up. I put my work clothes on and drove to work with my dad. And it had to be, of course, one of the hottest days of that year, that summer. And so he knew exactly where I was at. He knew exactly how I was feeling. Yeah. And he worked me so hard that day. And at the end of the day, coming home from work, I fell asleep in the truck. I mean, I was so tired I passed out, And I remember my mom telling me afterwards, my dad left me in the truck sleeping. And she told me that she asked me, she's like, "Aren't you gonna, tell him to wake up?" And let him sleep it off. He'll be okay. He'll wake up in the morning. He'll remember this. And sure enough, I remember that the rest of my life, to make sure that take the time to be on time, to be punctual, and never let anything get in the way. And that's, that's how you learn those lessons, And my dad was always good about, teaching you, in ways that you would remember, that you would remember those lessons. And that's important, you carry through, you carry on that way.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy how that relates, because of the amount of times that I have fallen asleep in my dad's truck, especially after a night of drinking, probably with you, and I still got to go to work, and still work my ass off and work hard and, that, and then working with my dad, like working with Grandpa, there was day in and day out. It was relentless, But and so I'm sure that he knew the pains.
Oh, of course, yeah. He'd been through that before. Absolutely.
He drank himself. But I think of it. It reminds me of the picture in your room in Elgin right now. The boots and the.
Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah. So that was when I was in the service. Yeah. Kept my AO, they call it, the area of responsibility. But I took some time off. While I was going to school, my unit had gone to a training exercise. We used to go on 30, 45-day field problems, they're called. We used to train at a place in Germany called Grafenwehr. And you're out in the bush for like 30 days, 45 days, and I missed the first week because I had some exams, at the University of Maryland, that I had to take some tests. So they let me stay back, which is great. And we stayed back. You don't stay in your regular barracks. You stay in, some makeshift barracks that they give you a room, and you got to, sleep in a cot and stuff like that. And then I had been out, drinking that night and woke up the next morning, with a beer and cigarette on the side there, That's how you do that. But that was cool. It was allowed because there was nobody there to watch me, so you did that. But,
one of the things that I wanted to touch on, Robert asked, and I talked to him, and he thought about it. He put some good thought into it. And I could tell. He asked, what is one of the hardest parts about being a father, and what is one of the most fun parts of being a father?
Probably the toughest part of being a father is watching your children struggle when they struggle. From the time I saw you guys from the time you were born. You know, I was the first one to see you guys when you were born. Before your mother saw you, I saw you, and I was the first one to see you. It's literally see you come into this world. I was the first one. Me and the doctor were the first ones to see you come into this world. Absolutely. I was always there for your mother. For all three of you. I was always there, making sure that she was okay. Always. And I always participated in the whole process. From beginning to end, literally. But the toughest thing being a father is watching any of you struggle through things, whether you got hurt or you're sick. I wish that I could take that pain and make it my own instead of seeing you suffer. That's probably the toughest part of being a father. The most rewarding is when I see you succeed at everything the things that you do. The things when you're successful. When I see you being here and doing the things that you love to do, that makes me happy. It fills my heart. When I see my daughter, become the woman that she is, just an amazing woman, it fills my heart. When I see my oldest boy graduating from a language school and accomplishing his goals, that fills my heart. That is probably the most rewarding part of being a father, is seeing you guys be successful and carrying on. That truly is. It really is. It's a blessing.
Well, I think you've done a pretty good job because
Thank you.
look at these guys.
Thank you.
I'd
I
like to meet your
appreciate
other
it.
kids too.
They are. They're all
at some
wonderful.
point.
All three of them. I've been very, very blessed with that. And my wife and I, and all of our family, by extension, we're truly blessed because I have three wonderful children. I really do.
Thank you
Yeah.
for taking the time to
Absolutely.
come and talk to us today.
Absolutely.
appreciate it, man. It's very nice to
Absolutely.
meet
It was
you.
a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
We're gonna have to get both of them. My dad
Sure.
and your dad at the same
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely.
Let's
That
get
would
that
be
in the future.
yeah.